Nida, thank you so much for joining me on Vitality Women Leading Audaciously. It is a joy to have you all the way from Bangkok. Is that right? You're in Bangkok?
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer.
Amazing. You are an extremely high level coach. And I'm so curious to hear about your journey, how you came to coaching and, how it all came to be. Tell us.
Yeah, it's a really funny story, actually. I actually left the corporate world around 14 years ago, I think. It was so long, I forgot. But I used to work. I had a career in Fortune 500 companies. I worked for L'Oreal, Unilever, and after a few years, I just kind of knew that corporate world wasn't for me. I like to create new ideas. I like to challenge norms, and following rules in companies was not like one of my greatest strengths. So I left. I know lots of women entrepreneurs are like that, right? We like to break the rules and create our own rules. So I started a child development center and got married, had a child, and he just grew up in the child development center. Nice. And that's when I found out that my passion was about psychology and about human behavior, about helping people discover their best selves. And it started with child psychology, but then I was really someone that was interested in reading psychology books, but I didn't know that I was actually really good at it, that I had this kind of like, almost like an obsession for understanding the human mind and understanding why people do specific things.
Oh, it's fascinating, right? I'm totally right there with you for the 30 years. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was watching all these, I consumed lots of these books and videos and things. And one day there was this guy who's on YouTube and he said that he was a life coach. And at that time, I didn't know what it was, but it sounded like something that I was supposed to be doing. And so I Googled it. I just went to Google it, like life coach, and all these kind of like certification programs came up. And there was like this definition what a life coach was. And so I read it and I was like, hey, this is me, at that point, when I was running the Child Development Center, I was thinking of maybe going back and doing another master's degree in psychology. But my boy was like really young at that time. He was like a toddler, and so it wasn't a good time. But I really couldn't imagine myself working like as a clinical psychologist, in a hospital. That was just not aligned with my energy and positivity and go-getter kind of energy. But when I found out about life coaching, it was like looking at all these certifications, and then I just went all in. I'm known for that, like into like discovering this thing and then going all in like crazy.
Love it. Nice.
I went in, I did all the certifications and certified on a bunch of things, went in and like just started to run, started coaching, doing everything. And I was always doing kind of marketing consultant, business consultant on the side. Like I've always just been doing that. And so when I, integrated coaching and, took that background from marketing and branding and business together, I discovered that, this is what I should be doing. I should be helping coaches, consultants, experts, service providers, the people that are making the world a better place. We're making impact, the change makers, right? And that was just so inspiring for me to find out what I wanted to do and the impact that I wanted to make in this world. It was to help other people that were already impact makers to make the most impact that they could make and to create the ripple effect. And yeah, basically that's how I found out about coaching. That's how I integrated coaching into my business. And although I do business consulting, a huge part of it is about mindset coaching. It is about understanding human behavior, what's the underlying kind of cause of this specific behavior here, why aren't you taking action, or sometimes we sabotage our own results and we don't understand why, right? So
most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time it's not like we don't know how to do it. It's just like we're getting in our own way.
We can't see what we can't see. And that's why you need a coach, right? Because they're the ones that are going to illuminate it. And and hopefully help us to bridge the gap if we're willing to not defend our wounding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's an incredible story. And I love how it just emerged from this genuine desire that you had in your heart and your belly and in your mind,
Yeah.
tending to those fires. It's so beautiful. I have a very similar story, right? I was always interested in human behavior and transformation. And it was for me always through religion. Growing up Christian with a Jewish father, studying religions when I left home at age 18. I mean, like you, all in. Like I wanted to study Taoism, Buddhism, Confucianism, like all like Sufism. Like I was just like fascinated. And then I got into yoga, and all of them had the language of transformation. But I came back to the States because I lived in Switzerland for 10 years and I didn't have the words. So people were like, what are you talking about? This sounds weird, And so coaching thankfully gave me the terminology and the frameworks. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting. So your son is probably like a little coach too, right? At 13.
Yeah, he asks me things about like why, for example, like why his friend did this and did that, and
Right.
like,
Right.
and he's coming to me to explain those behaviors, and I think it's really great because it really helps him look at the world from a like objective kind of point of view instead of being biased or judgmental of
Right.
people.
The victim
Yeah,
of. Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
oh, they're going through their stuff. Yeah. It's funny. Like whenever there's a family quarrel, like I'll be the mediator. And then my sister will look at me. She's like, how did you do that? I'm like, this is what I do. I mean, I'm not a mediator, but it's just like,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. And I guess it's never ending. The format. Sorry. We cannot always control when the door rings.
No worries.
She's very. These people are arriving to my house and they weren't expected until for another 2 hours. So I apologize about that interruption.
No worries.
My goodness, that was like so shocking. I was really rattled. Oh my gosh. But it's okay. We'll edit that out, I'm sure. My goodness. Our children not being victims is such a huge, huge thing for them to go into the world, especially when they're in their early teenage years. My daughter is going to be 17 in a few months, and they do think differently. And I think it's because of the conversations around the kitchen table and whatnot.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your business, how that's taken shape and what it looks like.
Yeah, well, I run two businesses. So the first one is a consulting business, and we offer done for you consulting services for coaches, consultants, thought leaders, experts, and service providers that want to scale their business and want to build a unique business. So I call it a category of one business. That's where we help them to differentiate their business, find a way to find a new solution, a unique solution that no one is offering in the market by researching and doing deep dive interviews with their clients and their employees. And, the goal is really so that they can offer something that's unique and excellent. And marketing differentiation ultimately, leads to businesses building up the value of their business and maximizing the impact that they can actually make in the world. A big problem that I know that is a frustration for lots of people in this space, and for me, was that people were, just offering subpar results and just like copying what everybody else is doing. And we see this a lot in, I think, the service-based world, our expert-based world. And there is some of that happening in the product-based world as well. But I think when we start businesses in the expert-based world, we're just looking at what's out there, and then we start to, and it's nothing wrong with that. When we're starting out businesses, we'll kind of like look what's available, right? And then, hey, maybe I should do this, I should do that. But I think ultimately, in order to scale and create a legacy business, you really have to have something that's unique. And it's not just to be unique for the sake of being unique, but to offer something that's truly better, that's making, creating real results for your clients, offering a better customer experience for the clients. So that's actually what I do. A lot of my work is about customer experience, customer journey, research, deep dive into understanding clients, finding a unique and innovative solution, and positioning clients' brands so that they become a category of one and stand out from the rest of the market, so that they don't blend in, but they become a disruptive brand, and offer a high level, excellent level of service.
Yeah, really extraordinary. And there's a lot of women CEOs who are listening, and I'm sure they're all nodding their heads. And there are a lot of coaches that are going to be listening as well, those that I've trained or written programs for, and even mentor. And what you're saying is so, so critical. And I find it's interesting when coaches, do their training and get out in the world. They struggle with this point, because it's so obvious to other people what their niche is based on the deep dive that you're describing, but it's not obvious to them, because it's like the air they breathe. They can't, it is their genius. And so it's important to have somebody like you to really help to reflect back what they're offering, what results they're providing, and how it's unique to them, because the market is getting saturated internationally, right? Not only here in the United States. And the only way to really achieve excellence is finding out what your niche is and how you can help, because we're all really special in what we can provide. I mean, most of the people, that, for example, in the health coaching industry, which I'm in, it's just transformation, weight loss. It's just way too broad, right?
Yeah. And I think I don't know what, maybe you can share your experience too, but like I also train coaches. I run a coach training school for people that want to be accredited through the ICF. Mm-hmm. And I think lots of students or, clients that come to me actually struggle, especially as coaches, because we want to help everyone, we want to help everyone. We don't want to leave anyone behind. And that's part of why, coaches find it difficult to niche down into a specific niche and to say no to a particular group of clients, because they want to help everyone. They want to make impact, but it's really counterintuitive, isn't it? Lots of things in business, like, for example, you think if you sell low ticket, it's going to be easier to sell. That's actually not the truth, right? Or to be a generalist kind of coach
doesn't work.
Offer lots of things seems like a good idea, but actually not, right? So yeah, I think it's really important that people become clear, at least to start off with, to actually be strong on a particular group of client segment, because that's what will make you stand out and will help you attract the right group of clients.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Absolutely. And if you, and I heard, you have a quiz that people can take to understand a little bit more intimately what that might be.
Yeah. So it's a quiz that helps people understand, their personality and how they could use that personality to their benefit. So if anybody wants to go and do it, it's at nidaleard.com/quiz. It's a free quiz. So, you can, everybody's invited to complete that. It will help you find out your entrepreneurial edge, and it is a quiz for coaches. So it would be perfect for your audience. So coaches, consultants, service providers.
Nida Learn, is that right?
NidaLeard.com. Yeah, that's NidaLeard.com/quiz.
Perfect. Okay. We'll put that in the show notes as well, but I appreciate you spelling it out because I wasn't sure. I thought the last letter there. Beautiful. So you are a successful business owner, and you're a mom. And how do you strike the balance? How do you find, your flow, or however you define it?
Yeah, I think my son has always been a part of my business. Whatever business I was in, like I would bring him along to meetings, to things like that. And he just, I think through that process, because I'm a single mom, and I've been a single mom for 10 years, he basically grew up just like really learning to be independent, learning to be responsible, and just knowing that, okay, during this time, mom's having a meeting, so I can't, make loud noises in the other room or something like that. So I think just by having him on this journey, he has kind of observed what I do, the way I think. Even when we were running the Child Development Center, he would hear me having conversations with other teachers and adults in the business, right? And I think he really absorbed that mentality, the psychology behind all those discussions, when I was like analyzing, talking about like, children, parents, teachers, why this person did this and that, what's right, what's wrong. And I think he listened, maybe not intentionally, but he definitely absorbed the way of thinking, the logic, the psychology, and all that.
Totally. Yeah, my daughter too. I mean, when I hear her speak, I'm like, she's like a little coach. It's so it's so amazing. I'm just blown away by her. But it's because she's witnessed these decades. Well, she's 17, this decade and a half of, of language choice.
Yeah.
And circumstantial, business stuff that she's of course accompanied me. But so for you, it sounds like communication is key. And including him has been part of you finding a balance. It's just, so it's not been separate, right? But it's been integrated. And then there's a lot of communication and collaboration in your family.
Yeah, I think when I look back, like he's now, I don't know, like when he hit the age of around like 8 or 9,
Mm-hmm.
when he was young, he was like really playful. He didn't really care about academia or like, grades or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he turned 8 or 9 or 10, by that time, I've been teaching some NLP stuff and personality type,
I
some
always get
coaching.
so shy when people say that. I'm like, oh no, she can see me.
I just like taught him some things, not like intentionally, but for example, if he had a conflict with grandma, my mom, because they have very different ways of looking at things. My
Mm-hmm.
mom's a baby boomer, very attached to security, risk averse, very different mentality, different way of living from him, which is like a Gen Me or
I don't even know anymore. I'm so confused with all the acronyms.
Yeah. And there was a point where he's like really frustrated. Like, why is grandma acting like this? Why is she so worried about this and that? And I had to explain him about the model of the world and the whole NLP thing of how we perceive the world, because the way we were programmed, the life that we experienced that we had, the way we grew up and all that, that really helped him understand like my mom and understand like that people have different experiences and how it impacts how we show up in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that, empathy, understanding people is just a quality that's so important to have in this world today, and I would share these kind of theories or, psychology things with him when these kind of circumstances kind of came up.
Yeah.
Or if he had like a conflict at school, or if he didn't understand his teacher and stuff like that. And I don't go and like, hey, you have to set a SMART goal or anything like that. But I think that he sees me doing it, I guess. And I don't like put up a flip chart and write my SMART goal, but I talk about things that I want in my life, how I want to design, how I want to make things happen, what I want to do. And I think he sees that passion in me and that he sees that I go all in, and that definitely makes him also do something that's similar to that, and yeah, I think when he reached the age of 8, 9, 10, he started to say like, Mom, I want to get this grade. I want to do A's. I want to do whatever.
Right.
And
Totally.
I was really surprised because I never told him that you had to get, good grades. I don't really, pay much attention to those things, but he just wanted to do it himself, So I think, as parents, they don't do what you tell them to do. They do what you do, they follow
That's true.
your actions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we always say, and my daughter and I, like she'll have a goal like your son. And sometimes we'll be like, okay, is this choice moving us towards or away? And so, and I would do it with my body, she's very tactile, and I'd be like, are we moving towards it? Or are we moving away from it? And you know what? They're both okay, but they both have different results. So which do you choose? Like, which do you want? All these fun ways and things to do. It'd be really interesting to see kind of what they end up doing with their lives.
Yeah.
So So Nita, this podcast is all about vitality, and finding our vitality is, yes, being successful in business, finding a way to, be a mom, if that's what you're doing in your life, well, which is what we're doing. And, vitality is something that sometimes gets away from us because we get really bogged down with the demands of our life. And it's part of this performance mentality, especially in the coaching world, but in every world, every high achiever is confronted with it. So how do you restore your vitality? What do you do to help yourself?
Yeah, I recharge my battery by taking a lot of rest. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, but I think I'm like the 1% or very minimal of the population that needs to sleep a lot.
So like 10 hours a night or 8, or
Yes,
what do you,
yes,
10,
it's
10?
it's like a 10. Um, if I could choose, it would be 10 minimum. I could sleep for 12 hours. If I was really tired, I could do 14 hours. I used to
Wow.
very abnormal, but I read about it and they said that there are certain people that need a lot of sleep.
I need sleep too. And people think that I'm like such a sourpuss because I'm like, I'd love to go out, but it's actually after 8 and I'm going to bed. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't know that I can sleep 14 hours, but that's amazing that you can give yourself that gift and that you do sleep well. I mean, so many people struggle with
Yeah,
sleep in general, right?
yeah. I love sleeping, and
Mm.
other things I like is like listening to books. I don't really,
Oh, right. Me too.
yeah, I like to listen. I like to watch movies. Um,
Mm.
I like time traveling movies and series. Of course, like those kind of mind bending movies.
Right, me too. Oh, you and I like binge on Netflix, like the same stuff, I'm sure. Psychologically
Yeah,
stimulating.
I think it's related to people that like coaching, you know. And yeah, I think I'm kind of like a work hard, play hard kind of person. You know, I
Yeah.
can like binge watch. Like if I got into like Sherlock Holmes, for example, I would watch the whole thing and I wouldn't do anything until I finished it, you
I'm the
know?
same way. Okay. I think that like, I don't know, there must be like a profile of people that get into this world and go for it. So funny. I love knowing that we have all these similarities and we're on opposite sides of the planet. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah,
It's all one, no matter what, no matter where. All of us have the human heart. All of us have these desires, curiosities. It's so beautiful to realize there's just no separation.
yeah, it is. And I think particularly with like coaches, right? You realize that no matter who you're coaching, whatever, you know, what country you're from, what background you have, we're all the same. You know, we have like we struggle with our human brain, our thoughts, you know, social norms and everything. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all humans and we have the same challenges and
Yeah,
you know, same aspirations. We
absolutely.
we all want to be proud of ourselves and you know and deliver and make the most impact that we can for this world. And
Absolutely. And yet we have this unique, I'm going to say vibration. It's like a tone, like
yeah,
in your voice, in my voice, in how we deliver our gifts to make the world a better place through coaching and self-improvement and this development inside of for me, on the ontological
yeah,
constructs that we get curious about and we dive deeply into. So yes, we're all the same, and we have this unique imprint, just as unique as your voice or your thumbprint. So if
yeah.
you want to learn more about your unique imprint, Nita has got this down to a science. So definitely go take her quiz, because I know a lot of coaches want to be more successful. They want to make a bigger impact. And we can do that when we understand our gifts even more deeply. Would you agree, Nita?
Yes, I totally agree. I think when we're able to find, you know, we have that what we call the unconscious competency, right? Where when we've just done it so well, we don't know how we do it, and we're not aware that we're really great at this thing. We just like, you know, like I've just always been good at this. I didn't realize that it was, you know, a key strength or it was something
Right.
that was hard for other
Like,
people.
can't everyone do this? Like, make
Yeah,
food like I make food. And my sister's like, no.
Yeah.
No, they
Like,
cannot.
and when you actually are conscious of that unconscious competency, that's when you realize, wow, okay, this is my gift. Like I need to
Yeah,
help people with this. I think that's
absolutely.
when you can, discover your zone of genius and actually put it to use, actually deliver that to the world.
Yes, let's put it to use. Everyone listening, please. The world needs us now more than ever. Thank you so much for being on the show, Nita, and talk soon.